I'm Steve Matthes, Transworld Motocross editor-at-large. You know, one of the coolest things that's happened in the last 10 years is the advent of start hooks. They help keep your front end down off the start, which allows you to deliver the power and the traction right out of the gate and pull that whole shot. So, on this week's Transworld How-To Bike Bandit Tip of the Week, I'm going to show you how to install this Works Connection Holeshot device. Brap. Careful you don't lose your spacers. Alright, front wheel is off. I don't have to tell you guys that the fork Holeshot device goes on the non-brake side, do I? I hope not. Pay attention to where your fork height is. You'll want to put your fork back onto that same height. Alright, I got a fork, I got a Holeshot device, let's get busy. Alright, these Holeshot devices are all model specific, made for the fork, so I've taken the fork off and I've slid down the Works Connection capture device on the forks here. A little bit of Loctite on this bolt that holds it together. Now don't tighten this yet because you don't know exactly where you're going to go, so just put that on, and now you're done with that and you can start drilling the fork guard. Alright, I usually install these when I was on race teams sort of with no help. I kind of knew what to do. Cool thing with Works Connection is they give you this guide that you cut out and you match it up against your fork guard like so. You can see the guide, the piece of paper matches the fork guard perfectly. So it's pretty much idiot proof, or as my team managers I worked with like to call it, Mathis proof. And just get some tape and tape this piece of paper to your fork guard, and that way you know that your alignment will be correct. Kind of cool that Works Connection does that. It's all set to go. They give you this guide plate that you match up here exactly as such. Now they tell you to clamp it in the instructions, but we're just going to tape it because we don't have a C-clamp big enough. So let's tape this on here. You can see that line up the holes and line up the guide. How bitchin' is that? Alright, we've got it all taped on there. We've got a 3/16 drill bit here, and you're just going to simply drill through the holes into your fork guard. And after that, here's the device. You can see you're going to drill holes for that, for the screws, but you're going to need a bigger hole for the push button. And Works Connection has been kind enough to give you a drill bit included in the kit for boring. How nice. The next step, I've got my bore bit, and you do want to do the center hole from the back side. Very important to do this one from the back side, and that way it'll fit, the start hook button will fit better. Bore it out here. I'm going to just trim this with a little bit of a razor blade so I have a flush fit. Here's our button device, and it's going to go on right there into this fork. What I need to do though first, because the screws are countersunk, as you can see right there, I'm going to take this tool that they supply you with and by hand countersink the holes into the plastic, and that way the screws will be flush inside there. Don't use the drill for this because it doesn't take very much to take it off, and then if you go too far you're screwed. So use this hand tool and get busy countersinking. Alright, I've got the screws for the Holeshot device here. You definitely want to put some blue Loctite on them. You can spill it all over your hand like I just did, and now my hand will be glued shut. I've got the device in there. Holes are countersunk, and just put them in there, get the screws started, and tighten it up gently without too much force. and pull that button down. As I said, not too much force. You can see that button clears there, no problem. Let me clean up my Loctite mess. There you go, ready for install. So you've seen here we've reinstalled the fork guard. We've got our button on there. We've got our hook on there. We're going to tighten this once we have the front wheel on to line it all up. Don't forget when you're putting your fork back on, make sure you've matched the fork height that the other fork is at, so you're equal on both sides of those. Tighten these pinch bolts up. You'll want to torque these with a torque wrench. Let's get that wheel on and pull some holies. All right, we've got the fork on, the front wheel on. Set height is measured to be the same. I've eyeballed this clamp, tightened it up with an Allen key. We've installed the start button. I've got a friend here, or at least a guy who can tolerate me, to see if we got the lineup exactly right. So let's set this hook if we can. Let's try it again. There we go. Fork is lower, the start will be better. And how do you feel? You think you can pull it?
For sure.
Yeah.
I'll probably Holeshot every race.
There you go, folks. If you buy a Works Connection Easy Start Holeshot device, you too can Holeshot every race. And that's been this week's Transworld How To Bike Bandit Tip of the Week.